Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi, wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin, amma ba'd. So in continuing to discuss our book, At-Tadhkirah fi Ulum al-Hadith by Ibn Mulakin rahimahullah, where we're discussing concerning matters relating to Ilm al-Hadith. And this book is more geared, more directed towards those who are Talib al-Ilm, who's new to studying Ilm al-Hadith. So we had covered concerning in the previous lesson regarding matters relating to the Sahaba. So the author rahimahullah had previously discussed matters pertaining to the Sahaba, and will continue to, today inshallah ta'ala in discussing those other topics that he has mentioned. So Ibn Mulakin rahimahullah in this book At-Tadhkirah fi Ulum al-Hadith, that he mentioned after as-Sahaba, he mentioned وَمَعْرِفَةُ الصَّحَابَةِ وَالتَّابِعِينَ وَأَتْبَاعِهِمْ مَعْرِفَةُ الصَّحَابَةِ وَأَتْبَاعِهِمْ. So as for this particular topic, we'll be discussing more so concerning matters relating to the At-Taabi'een. So he discussed the Sahaba, and we discussed points relating to the Sahaba, and then now, and today we'll be discussing in this lesson matters relating to the Tabi'een. So from what the author rahimahullah have mentioned regarding the Tabi'een, that being the topic to be discussed, that few things that will cover regarding this particular topic. So as for the matter relating to At-Taabi'een, first is regarding who's a Tabi'een, as we had discussed regarding the Sahaba. So today we'll be discussing in this lesson matters relating to At-Taabi'een. So the first is regarding who's a At-Taabi'een, and other matters that are discussed in this particular topic. So as for a Tabi'een, that ulama rahimahullah have discussed them by way of linguistically the word At-Taabi'een or At-Taabi'un, and also second concerning the meaning that is intended shar'an, according to the mustalahat of the ulama regarding in the various signs as the word At-Taabi'een, that the meaning generally as discussed concerning in the various signs. So as for At-Tabi'un, linguistically from the word tabi'a. So concerning Tabi'un is the plural, and the singular is Tabi'i. The singular is Tabi'i. And as for this concerning the asl of this word tabi'a. So meaning concerning that, the meaning linguistically, mashya khalfa, is a person who follows behind another, the one who follows behind another. So regarding concerning that, that's the meaning linguistically. As for what is intended or the meaning, istilahan in the ulama al-hadith, that you find several meaning that are given, So the first of those meaning regarding At-Tabi'een, as mentioned by some of the ulama, that they mentioned that Muslim la'iqi as-sahabiyan wa mata ala Islam. So of those definition that is given regarding who's a Tabi'een, of the ulama have mentioned that it's one who's a Muslim, laqiya sahabi, or a Muslim who have met a Sahaba, wa mata ala Islam, and that person he died eventually upon Islam. So this is the person who is said to be a Tabi'een. So those conditions, if they are fulfilled in with any individual regarding a person who is a Muslim, and he had met one of the Sahaba, and also that person he died upon Islam, then he is said to be a Tabi'een. So that's the general definition of a Tabi'een. So it is mentioned regarding concerning a Tabi'een, and you have other definitions mentioned, man laqiya wahidan min as-sahaba. Another definition that is mentioned by some of the ulama, that they mention man laqiya wahidan min as-sahaba fahuwa tabi'i, that a person who have met one of the Sahaba, he said to be a Tabi'een, with the other condition that person is also a Muslim, and also that person he died upon Islam. So that's the general definition that is given by of a Tabi'een. Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi rahimahullah, he mentioned regarding At-Tabi'i, man sahaba as-sahaba. So the person who somewhat was a companion of the Sahaba, he said to be a Tabi'een. So those are the general definition regarding a Tabi'een, as we had mentioned. The second of those points that relates to At-Tabi'un, the second point is regarding concerning Fadl Tabi'een. So mentioning the virtue of the Tabi'een. So of those things, you find several hadiths that have come to us regarding mentioning some of the virtue of the first three generation, and amongst and including that generation be the generation of the Tabi'un. So the Sahaba being the first generation, then after them will be the Tabi'un. So of those hadith that have been mentioned regarding that matter, the hadith of Imran ibn Husayn ta'ala anhu, that he alayhi salam mentioned the hadith, the Prophet alayhi salam has said in the hadith, خير أمتي قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. So in this hadith that is narrated in the Al-Bukhari, where the Prophet alayhi salam mentioned خير أمتي, that the best of my nation, قرني is my generation, ثم الذين يلونهم, then the generation that follows, ثم الذين يلونهم, and then the next generation that follows. So those three generations of Islam are considered to be the best generation amongst the Muslim. The generation of the Sahaba, then follows the generation of the Tabi'un, and then follows the generation of the At-Taabi'een. So those are considered to be the three generations. So this will include showing the virtue of that particular generation, and also the hadith of Ibn Mas'ud upon the Prophet ﷺ, where he mentioned خَيْرُ النَّاسِ قُرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُم, that he mentioned the best of people are my generation, then the generation that follows, then the generation that follows. So those are concerning of those hadith that mention something of the virtue of that generation. And that, so as for the next matter, that is to be the next matter, the third matter regarding the ulama rahimahullah, in looking at generation of the tabi'un, that they put them into regarding tabaqat, placing them in different tabaqat. So regarding concerning this level of tabaqat, that you might find that the ulama regarding placing the tabi'un in different tabaqat, that what have been the practice of Imam Muslim rahimahullah. So Imam Muslim rahimahullah, that he divided the tabi'un into three tabaqat. You find that others, such as Al-Hakim An-Nisa'i rahimahullah, in his book Ma'rifat Ulum Al-Hadith, that he placed the tabi'un into 15 tabaqa, that he placed them into 15 categories, even though لم يذكر منهم إلا سوى 3 طبقات, even though he did not mention except for 3 tabaqat. So Al-Hakim An-Nisaburi, he placed the tabi'un into 15 categories, 15 tabaqat, but levels, but also he only mentioned 3. And Imam Muslim rahimahullah, that he placed them into 3 categories. So as for those 3 categories of the tabi'un that are mentioned, that you find the first tabaqa, the first level of the tabi'un that I mentioned concerning kibar at-tabi'een. So the kibar at-tabi'een, that's the first of those 3 tabaqat of the tabi'un. So they are the kibar tabi'een, they are alladhina adraku kibar sahaba. They are the ones who met the major sahaba, the more renowned of the sahaba, and including amongst those sahaba will be al-ashar mubashirin bil jannah, the 10 who were given glad tidings of Jannah, and they have met many of the companions. So their narration will be in most those kibar tabi'un, that they will narrate upon the kibar sahaba. So that's concerning that first generation of the tabi'un, the kibar at-tabi'un. Of the likes, those who fall into this category, they mention Qais ibn Abi Hazim, Sa'id ibn Musayyib, Masruq ibn Ajda, and the likes. So they will be classed as the kibar at-tabi'een. The next would be the next level of the tabi'een would be al-awsat at-tabi'een. So al-awsat at-tabi'een. So the tabi'een that fall in the middle branch, the middle group of the tabi'un. As for those ones, they are defined as alladhina adraku Ali ibn Abi Talib, those ones who met the time of Ali ibn Abi Talib, وَمَنْ بَقِيَ حَيًّا, and those who remain حَيًّا إِلَى أَحْدِهِ وَبَعْدَ other of the companions. So those are the ones of that time. So those who met Ali ibn Abi Talib during his khilafah, and those who were present with him during that time, and those who remain after. So those concerned to be of the those who met the likes of those sahaba, they are considered to be of the awsat at-tabi'un. Of example of those they mention, so meaning concerned, they met people like Hudayfa ibn Yaman, they'll meet the likes of Abi Musa al-Ash'ari, Aisha, al-Mu'mineen radiyallahu anha, Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, and other among the sahaba, Abdullah ibn Umar, and the likes. So of those who will fall into that category, who have met the companions of that generation of that time, will be the likes who fall into the awsat al-tabi'un, Hassan al-Basri, Muhammad ibn Sirin, Ata ibn Abi Rabah, and the likes, Ash-Sha'bi, and the likes. So those will be considered to be of the awsat al-tabi'un, because they met those companions who were alive during the time of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and those who were after this. Then also the third categories of those at-tabi'in will be sigar at-tabi'in. The third will be the sigar at-tabi'in. And as for those, they define them as hum alladhina adraku wa sami'u mimman ta'akhkhar mawtuhu min as-sahaba fi al-amsar. So they will be those who met those companions, the ones who, among the companions who died, the one who were the last among the companions who have died. So the last among the companions who have died in different areas, anyone who met those companions, they'll be considered to be of the Sigar At-Taabi'een, because they met the companions who died last. So of those ones, so that mentioned concerning that, and they met very few companions, one or two companions. There will be the ones who have met maybe one or two Sahaba. So those who will fall into this category will be the likes of Ibn Shihab, Az-Zuhri, Qatada ibn Di'ama, Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari, Humayd al-Tawil, and the likes. So those will be of those of the Tabi'un that they'll be considered or classed as being of the Sigar At-Tabi'un, the likes of Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, Qatada, Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari, and also At-Tawil, Humayd al-Tawil. So those will be of the Sigar At-Tabi'un. Then that's concerning categorizing the Sahaba, the Tabi'un in different category. The next of those matters are discussed concerning that with the Tabi'un, that of those things, the ulama, rahimahullah, that they mention regarding that with the Tabi'un, they mention concerning that, or concerning that they refer to as Al-Fuqaha As-Sab'a min At-Taabi'een, what they refer to as the Fuqaha As-Sab'a. So you have 7 of the Fuqaha from Ahl Medina that they refer to as Fuqaha As-Sab'a. They refer to as the Fuqaha As-Sab'a from amongst the Tabi'un, and because of one, that they were all from Ahl Medina. And these 7, as mentioned by Ibn Salah rahimahullah, min Akabir Tabi'in Fuqaha As-Sab'a min Ahl Medina. Then he mentioned, as for those 7 that I mentioned, Sa'id ibn Musayyib, second, Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad, third, Urwa ibn Zubair, fourth, Kharija ibn Zayd, fifth, Abu Salama ibn Abdul Rahman, sixth, Ubaidullah ibn Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and the seventh, Sulaiman ibn Yasar. Sulaiman ibn Yasar. So those are considered to be of the Fuqaha As-Sab'a. Fuqaha As-Sab'a, the 7 Fuqaha from Ahl Medina. Again, quickly, Sa'id ibn Musayyib, Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad, Urwa ibn Zubair, Kharija ibn Zayd, Abu Salama ibn Abdul Rahman, Ubaidullah ibn Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Sulaiman ibn Yasar, Abi Salama ibn Abdul Rahman. So these are of the 7 Fuqaha of Ahl Medina. So in the books of the Fuqaha, at times they will mention concerning that, this is the qawl of Al-Fuqaha As-Sab'a, meaning those individuals from the Tabi'un. The next of those matters are discussed regarding the Tabi'un, that they will mention regarding Afdal At-Taabi'een, who's the Afdal amongst the Tabi'een. So as for this particular matter, that they meant concerning the Afdal At-Taabi'een, regarding concerning of those Tabi'een that were known for their ilm. So regarding those who stand out regarding for their knowledge, that they all discussed concerning who said to be amongst the more virtuous amongst those At-Tabi'un, regarding their level of knowledge. So you have that discussion between the ulama as discussing who said amongst the ulama, those who mentioned regarding As-Sa'id ibn Musayyib as being one of the more illustrious amongst the Tabi'un. So a discussion between the ulama on this, but as for those that they put forward, Sa'id ibn Musayyib, some mention that you have Uwais al-Qurani, others mention in Basra, Hassan al-Basri. So you have that discussion between the ulama. But generally, so at times they may mention who amongst the companions, the Tabi'un, are said to be the most virtuous and the most illustrious amongst the Tabi'un. Then the next of those matters that to be mindful of, especially concerning the most virtuous amongst those companions that is mentioned is regarding concerning a matter that is mentioned regarding the Tabi'un, mentioned concerning قول التابعين من السنة كذا وكذا. So if a statement, something is mentioned from a Tabi'in, and he says من السنة كذا وكذا. So what hukum does this is this? Is this considered to be a part of the Sunnah or not? So regarding concerning the ulama, regarding this particular matter, you'll find that An-Nawawi rahimahullah, that he mentioned in Al-Mu'a, أن رأي الجمهور أنه في حكم موقوف. That is said to be something which is a mawquf. So if a tabi'in was to say من السنة كذا وكذا, it is considered to be something which is mawquf. Nam, going back to So that's concerning what is said to be mawquf. And then they mention that this indicates, and it goes back to the Sahaba, that this is of the Sunnah, meaning the Sunnah going back to the Sahaba. Then, and that's the qawl that is, then another view of Ibn Hajar rahimahullah mentioned that ala sahih, ala mursal ala sahih, that is considered to be something which is mursal ala sahih. So it's considered to be a broken isnad, incomplete, by way of, so that's concerning that matter. When a statement, so it shows that a statement of Sahaba, At-Taabi'een, saying, min as-sunnah kada wa kada, is not of the same degree of that of a Sahaba. When a Sahaba say, as-sunnah kada wa kada, then min al-ulama qal, and that is from amongst those things which is said to be marfu'a, going back to the Prophet ﷺ. So that's the matter to be mindful of. Then another of those matters that is covered regarding At-Taabi'een, that they mentioned that you find a group of people that they're in between as-Sahaba and the Tabi'een. They're in between as-Sahaba wa Tabi'een. And they mention, they refer to as al-Mukhadramun. So all those group of people are referred to as Mukhadramun, where you find that there's a group of people that is referred to as such due to al-Mukhadramun, that they are said to be of those concerning as defined, hum alladhina adraku jahiliyyah, that they are the ones who, that they were in Jahiliyyah, and also they accepted Islam while the Prophet Islam was alive but did not meet him. So they mentioned regarding that, al-Mukhadramun alladhina adraku jahiliyyah wa hayati Rasulullah, those are the people who met, were in Jahiliyyah, and they were still in the time of the Prophet Islam, aslamu wa lam yarahu. So they met, they accepted Islam, but in the time, the time of the Prophet Islam, but they did not meet him. So regarding concern those people that they are considered to be Mukhadramun, as they refer to as, and you have a discussion between, so of those people that are their narration is said to be the same as that of the Sahaba, or is it to be that looked upon as that of the Tabi'een? So you have a discussion between the ulama of Hadith regarding that particular matter. So a difference, are the narrations to be considered to be that of a Sahabi, but the fact that they did not meet or saw the Prophet Islam, so they're not considered to be a Sahabi, but they accepted Islam while Islam was alive. So when the Prophet Islam, they were alive, so they were referred to as Mukhadramun. So regarding concern this matter of some of the example of some of those concerning Suwaid ibn Ghafla, Amr ibn Maymun, Audi, and the likes, who are group amongst those people. So you have concerning, some of those also include concerning An-Najashi as being of those people. So you have that discussion between the ulama. So that's concerning Al-Mukhadramun. So with the importance concerning knowing the Sahaba and knowing the Tabi'een, that know concerning that, knowing where their narration lies, and being able to, and to identify them. Being able to identify them and know concern that they have also have different levels. They have different levels as mentioned. So that's concerning the matter that Ibn Mulakin rahimahullah, he mentioned regarding this topic concerning as At-Taabi'een. So concerning that books say have concerning At-Taabi'een, and the books of Rawat in general concerning would also have narration of the Tabi'een. So books of Rawat also would have give us the biography of many of the Tabi'een. So as for the next matter that he discussed, the author rahimahullah, then he mentioned concerning that Ibn Mulakin rahimahullah in his book Al-Tadhkirah, he goes on to the next topic where he mentioned وَمَنْ رَوَى مِنَ الْكِبَارِ عَنِ الصِّغَارِ كالرواية النبي عليه السلام عن تميم الداري والصديق وغيرهما ويلقب أيضا برواية الفاضل عن المفضول والرواية الشيخ عن التلميذ كالرواية الزهري ويحيى ابن سعيد والربيعة وغيرهم عن مالك. So that's the next note, or the next point that the author rahimahullah he discussed. So after ending discussion regarding the Tabi'een, he goes on to discuss concerning others again regarding al-Rawat. So matters regarding those narrators and certain things that one should be mindful of. And then he mentioned regarding concern by Satan, وَمَنْ رَهَا مِنَ الْأَكَابِرِ عَنِ السَّغَاهِرِ, regarding those who are narration of the and the major and the senior and youngsters. So narration of min kabahir and sagayda, seniors narrating on those who are their who are younger than they are. So this concern, this matter we might find at times find that some who are older may at times, or by way of you mentioned, in some cases, a person who is of some standing, narrating on by a person of a greater standing, narrating on someone who's of a less standing. So regarding this particular matter, they regarding concerning, and also a student narrating on his teacher, or the teacher narrating on from the student. So you have those situations that is mentioned. So is regarding that those who are older narrating from those who are younger, or a case of a person of a certain standing, of a very high standing, narrating from a person who is of a lesser standing. And third, a case of a teacher narrating on a student. So sometimes we have situations like those. So regarding concern that they mentioned this in the books of Hadith. So they mentioned regarding concerning this particular matter that they refer to as riwayat al-akabir and asagir. It referred to as riwayat akabir and saghair. So this concerning of those matters that are covered concerning within the books of Hadith. And then the author, rahimullah, he mentioned regarding that the precedent that is sometime occur, that he mentioned concerning that كالرواية النبي عليه السلام عن تميم الداري. So you find that there's a narration of the hadith that refer to the hadith of Jassas, where the Prophet عليه السلام, that he narrated something that was mentioned to him by way of Tamim al-Dari. So meaning concerning the hadith of Jassas. So that hadith is where where Tamim al-Dari that went on a voyage, that they came to a land, a place after a shipwreck, that when they went on this land, that he found concerning the Dajjal and also Jasus, the spy, that he met them. So when he returned back, then he told the Prophet ﷺ regarding what he meant, and the Prophet ﷺ then narrated this. So the mention concerns this concerning the case concerning that the Prophet ﷺ narrating on someone else. So the normal procedure that people normally would narrate upon the Prophet ﷺ, and he does not narrate it upon others. But in this case, it happened concerning vice versa. So that's what this is the precedent regarding that you might find the situation might somewhat change, where the teacher narrate on the student, the person of virtue narrating a person who's of a maybe lesser virtue. So that's concerning the precedent regarding this sometimes occur regarding narration. So you find concerning that, so they mentioned regarding this case that you might find fall into different categories regarding concerning riwayat al-fadil and al-mafdul, or riwayat al-shaykh and talmidh that you mentioned. So you might find that one in those scenarios, those cases, أن يكون الراوي أكبر سنا وقدرا وأقدم طبقة. You might find that a narrator may be older and also is of the generation before, who's narrating on someone who's of that who's younger than him in age. So narrating on someone who's less younger in age and also not of that generation. So sometimes this occurs. Then he mentioned the second scenario may be a case concerning يكون الراوي أكبر قدرا, a person who's also of a more higher status and rank, narrating on someone who's less. So if a person who's an alim, hafiz, faqihan, who's narrating upon a person who's a sheikh. So if a person who's a hafiz, alim, faqihan, but he's narrating a person who's said to be just a sheikh. So cases of these does occur with a mention concerned to know Al-Malik rahimahullah fi riwayat an Abdullah ibn Dinar. So Malik of a higher standard and a higher level of that of Abdullah ibn Dinar. And they mention also the case concerning Ahmad ibn Hanbal and also Ishaq ibn Rahuya, that both of them narrated on Ubaydan ibn Musa al-Anbasi. So we're concerned that cases of these does occur. We find a person who's of a more standing narrating on someone who's less than they. And then the third example concerning أن يكون الراوي أكبر من وجهين جميعا. We find a person may have also older in age and also more of a person concerning qadran, of a higher standing of ilm and the likes, that they're narrating on someone who's completely less than they are. So you might find that teacher narrating on a student. So in age and in knowledge and in standing, that a teacher have all those qualities, but the student not have yet attained those qualities, but the teacher still narrating on the teacher narrating on the student. So those things sometimes occur. So I mentioned that in brief concern that these things occur. We might find that in cases that is added to it, you might find a Sahabi narrating on Tabi'een. So you might find in cases a Sahabi narrating on a Tabi'een. And also you might find a Tabi'i narrating on At-Taabi'een. So you might find those cases where of the generation before of status and rank, narrating on the generation that is after them. So sometimes those cases does occur. So one to be mindful of this. So knowing these things, the person that not to kind of somewhat to presume wrong regarding because of the situation. So not to presume wrong and to be misled regarding such a case, or mistaken that a person that these things does not, but that these things that does occur, that this situation does occur. So the Muslim to be mindful of, as mentioned by some of the ulama, that they mention regarding لا يكون رجل, as mentioned by some of the ulama, that it is stated لا يكون رجل محدثا, that a person does not become a muhaddith حتى يأخذ أمن فوقه, until he takes on those people who are higher than him, above him, ومثله, and those who are equal to him, ومن دون, and those who are less than he is. So it shows regarding that the talib and a person to achieve knowledge, then it is acceptable for him to take from those people who are above him, preceded him, those who are is the level of himself, and also those who are less than he is. So to benefit from others whenever possible. So also of those things that person to understand when these occur regarding that is not considered inqilab in the isnad, where there's somewhat a change have occurred in the isnad. That's not the case. But to understand that at times that you might find this, that At-Taabi'een may narrate on someone who's of the At-Taabi'een, and also a Sahabi may narrate at times on a Tabi'een. So these cases does occur. So that's concerning this matter regarding these particular matters that is mentioned here regarding those matters concerning ilm al-hadith. So with this, inshallah ta'ala, they mentioned regarding concerning of books of that type. There's mentioned a book regarding this particular type. It is a book that is referred to as ما رواه الكبار عن الصغار, ما رواه كبار عن الصغار والآباء عن أبناء. And this is by Al-Hafiz Abu Yaqub Ishaq ibn Ibrahim al-Warraq. So that's a book concerning, and he died 403 Al-Hijri. So that's concerning of those who have written on this particular topic, clarifying that these things does occur. So that inshallah ta'ala, that will end this particular lesson regarding our discussion of the book At-Tadhkira fi Ulum al-Hadith by Hafid ibn Lakid rahimahullah. Wa billahi ta'ala tawfiq wa hadi ila sabil. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh.